Listen carefully, because if you miss this, you'll misunderstand her completely. The moment she starts pulling away, replying slower, acting a little colder than before, that's the exact moment most men panic. And that panic? It's where they lose her. Not because she stopped caring, but because she started feeling too much. Before we go deeper, take a second, subscribe, like the video, and stay with me. Because what I'm about to reveal is something most men never realize until it's too late. You've been taught to believe that distance means disinterest, that when a woman becomes less available, less expressive, less predictable, she's losing attraction. But that's not always the truth. In fact, sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes the more she feels, the more she steps back. And I need you to understand why. When a woman begins to genuinely fall for you, something shifts internally. It's not just excitement anymore. It's vulnerability. It's risk. It's the realization that you now have the power to hurt her. And that awareness? It creates tension inside her mind. So what does she do? She pulls back. Not to push you away, but to protect herself. She starts analyzing everything. Your tone, your consistency, your intentions. She becomes quieter, more observant, less expressive, more controlled. Not because she's losing interest, but because she's trying not to lose herself. And this is where most men fail. They chase harder, they overtext, they demand clarity, they react emotionally. And in doing so, they confirm her deepest fear, that this connection will become overwhelming, unstable, or unsafe. What she actually needs in that moment is not more pressure. She needs calm. She needs consistency. She needs to feel that you are grounded, even when she isn't. Because when she's falling for you, she's not just evaluating you anymore. She's evaluating whether she can trust herself with you. And if you don't understand this shift, you'll misread her distance as rejection, when it was actually the beginning of something deeper. And this is where the truth gets even more uncomfortable for most men. Because what she does next will feel confusing, even contradictory. She might still watch your stories. She might still reply, but with gaps. She might still laugh at your jokes, but not like before, not consistently, not openly. And you'll start thinking, something has changed. I'm losing her. But listen to me carefully. Nothing about her feelings is simple at this stage. When she starts falling for you, her mind doesn't move in a straight line. It starts moving in waves. One moment she feels drawn to you, curious, emotional, even attached. The next moment she feels exposed, like she said too much, gave too much, felt too much. So she retreats. Not because you did something wrong, but because intimacy is activating her emotional defense system. And here's what most men completely miss. A woman doesn't only test your value when she's unsure about you, she also tests your emotional stability when she starts caring. Because the deeper she goes, the more she needs to know one thing. Will this man stay the same when I stop chasing him? That question is silent, but powerful. So she creates distance, not as punishment, but as an experiment. She wants to see if you panic, if you change, if you become needy, or if you stay steady. And your reaction becomes the answer she trusts more than your words. If you chase her, you teach her that your emotions depend on her availability. If you stay grounded, you teach her something completely different, that your presence is stable, even when hers is not. And that stability? It doesn't push her away, it pulls her in deeper. Because at this stage, she's not just attracted to how you make her feel. She's attracted to how safe her emotions feel around you. And if she feels chaos in you, she will create more distance. But if she feels calm in you, she will slowly come closer again, without even realizing she's doing it. Now I want you to stop for a moment and really absorb this, because this is the part where most men completely misread reality and destroy something that was actually growing. When she's falling for you, her distance will not feel logical. One day she's warm, the next day she's quiet. One moment she's engaging, laughing, opening up, and then suddenly she's distant again. And your mind starts trying to solve it like a problem. What did I do? Is there someone else? Did I lose her interest? But her emotional world doesn't move like a straight line. It moves like pressure building and releasing. Because attraction for her is not just comfort, It's intensity mixed with uncertainty. And when she starts feeling real emotional attachment, her system does something very specific. It tries to regain control. Not control over you, control over her own emotions. Because feelings that grow too fast start to feel unsafe, even if they are positive. And when something feels emotionally intense, her instinct is not always to move forward. It is to pause, to breathe, to step back just enough to feel grounded again. And in that pause, she watches you. Not with her words, but with her nervous system. She's asking silent questions. Is he still the same man when I'm not giving energy? Does he respect space or does he chase validation? Is his confidence real or performance-based? And here is where your behavior becomes either magnetic or destructive. If you react emotionally, you become unpredictable in her mind, and unpredictability creates emotional safety loss. But if you remain steady, if you don't over-explain, don't over-pursue, don't collapse internally, something powerful happens inside her perception of you. She begins to associate you with emotional safety instead of emotional pressure. And that is where attraction deepens in a way she doesn't fully understand herself. Because now she's not just thinking about you, she's feeling calmer when you're present, and calmer even when you're not chasing. And that creates something dangerous for her control: attachment. And now we enter the stage where most men either level up or completely ruin everything without realizing it. Because when she's falling for you and acting distant, something deeper is happening beneath the surface that she will never directly explain to you. She is becoming emotionally attached, while simultaneously trying not to become emotionally dependent. Let that sink in. She wants you close, but not overwhelming. She wants consistency, but not pressure. She wants connection, but not loss of control over her own emotions. So what does that look like from your side? Mixed signals. She may initiate one day, then disappear the next. She may show deep interest in a conversation, then suddenly go quiet. And your instinct will scream at you to fix it. But there is nothing to fix in the way you think, because this isn't confusion about you, it's conflict within her. One part of her is saying, I like him, I feel something here. And another part is saying, slow down, this is getting too real. And when those two emotional forces collide, distance becomes her coping mechanism. Not rejection, regulation. She is regulating how fast she allows herself to feel. Now here's where your power as a man becomes visible. If you respond with emotional urgency, you unknowingly confirm her fear that the connection is unstable. But if you respond with calm presence, something very subtle begins to shift inside her. She starts to feel something unfamiliar. She feels your absence without losing your presence in her mind. And that creates a psychological imbalance she cannot easily ignore. Because most people either chase or disappear. Very few remain steady. And steady presence creates curiosity. She starts to wonder why you didn't react the way others would, why you didn't overthink, why you didn't demand reassurance, why you didn't collapse emotionally when she pulled back. And that curiosity slowly transforms into respect. And respect, in her emotional world, is never separate from attraction. They begin to merge. And when that happens, she is no longer just deciding how she feels about you. She is trying to understand why she feels so strongly in the first place. Now, this is the point where things become very subtle and very dangerous for men who don't understand emotional timing. Because when she's falling for you and acting distant, she will not always show it through affection. Sometimes she will show it through resistance. She might become slightly more critical, slightly more unpredictable, slightly more on and off than before. And if you're not emotionally aware, you will interpret this as loss of interest. But listen closely. Resistance is not always rejection. Sometimes resistance is intensity that she doesn't know how to express safely. Because the deeper she feels for you, the more her mind tries to protect her from emotional imbalance. She starts asking herself questions she never asked in the beginning. Am I moving too fast? Why do I think about him so much? Why does his attention affect my mood? And those questions create internal tension. So she unconsciously creates space, not because she wants to leave you, but because she wants to regulate herself. And during that space, she is watching something very specific. Not your words, not your promises, your emotional reaction to uncertainty. Because anyone can be consistent when everything feels easy, but very few men remain stable when emotional uncertainty enters the connection. And that's the real test happening here. If you become reactive, she feels pressure. If you become distant in retaliation, she feels abandonment. But if you stay calm, not cold, not needy, just steady, something begins to recalibrate inside her emotional perception of you. You stop being a source of emotional chaos, and you start becoming a source of emotional grounding. And here's the part most men don't realize. She doesn't just fall for excitement, she falls for emotional safety that still feels emotionally alive. That combination is rare. And when she senses it in you, even through silence, even through distance, she doesn't lose interest. She becomes more aware of you, not less. Now we're at the stage where her behavior becomes even more confusing, but emotionally more revealing than anything before. Because when she's falling for you and acting distant, she will start to reappear in subtle ways that don't always look like interest on the surface. She might send a random message late at night. She might like something you posted days later. She might check in with something small, almost meaningless on the surface, but emotionally loaded underneath. And if you're not paying attention, you'll miss the pattern. Because this is not inconsistency. This is emotional return. She is coming back into your orbit in small doses, not because she fully let go of distance, but because she cannot fully let go of connection either. And this is where her internal conflict becomes visible in her actions. One part of her wants clarity, the other part wants control. So she gives you just enough to stay connected, without fully surrendering her emotional stability. And here's what most men misunderstand at this stage. They think these small reappearances mean they should increase effort again. They try to capitalize on the moment. They text more. They engage harder. They try to rebuild momentum instantly. But what she actually needed in that moment was not escalation. It was emotional continuity. Because for her, attraction is not built in bursts. It is built in rhythm. And rhythm requires you to remain stable whether she is near or distant. When you stop reacting to every small return like it's a reset button, something shifts in her perception. She begins to feel that you are not emotionally dependent on her fluctuations. And that creates a quiet but powerful realization inside her mind. You are still here, even when I'm not fully here. And that is deeply attractive. Because now she starts to experience something rare. A connection that doesn't punish distance and doesn't overreact to return. And in that space, her emotional walls begin to soften. Not because she was pressured, but because she finally feels safe enough to stop protecting herself so intensely. And now we reach the final truth. The part most men never stay long enough to understand, because they misread the silence and walk away right before everything starts to align. When she's falling for you and acting distant, there comes a moment where she stops testing loudly and starts feeling quietly. She won't announce it. She won't explain it. She may not even fully understand it herself. But something inside her changes. The distance doesn't feel like confusion anymore. It starts to feel like reflection. She starts thinking about you when you're not there, not out of anxiety, but out of emotional presence. And this is the shift you were waiting for. Because now she is no longer trying to figure out if she likes you. She already does. Now she is trying to understand what it means to like you, what it would cost her emotionally, what it would require from her vulnerability, what it would change in her life if she fully allowed herself to feel this. And that's where she becomes quiet again. But this silence is different. This is not withdrawal. This is depth. And if you've stayed grounded through all of this, if you didn't chase, didn't panic, didn't turn emotional instability into action, you become something rare in her emotional experience. You become a safe place inside her mind, not because you controlled her feelings, but because you didn't disturb them. And slowly, she starts leaning in again. Not dramatically, not with big declarations, but in small, consistent ways that feel natural, not forced. Because real attraction doesn't always explode. Sometimes it settles. And when a woman feels that she can miss you without losing you, and return to you without being judged, and feel deeply without being overwhelmed, That is when she stops playing games entirely. Not because she lost interest, but because she finally feels understood in a way she never had to ask for. And if you ever wondered what real emotional pull feels like, it's not noise. It's calm attention that never really leaves.